this thing here, where there's a thing where you can shuffle the cards over. You click this shuffle button down here, this black button, and it shuffles the 78 card deck. And literally, what's going on here in this app? It's all written in HTML5, they call it, and it uses JavaScript and of course images. And so what it does is it has all the images loaded in the app, all 78 of the tarot cards, and it keeps each image in its own variable container, so to speak. And then it organizes them in sequence 1 through 78 at first. It loads them into an array of cards. And then every time you press this button, it takes all those 78 objects in the code and actually rearranges them in a random order. So it could be 1, 64, 3, 50, it just, obviously, it sorts everything randomly. So you're really shuffling 78 cards here, so that when you scan your pointer over the set of cards, you can click on each individual card sticking out and, like, say I want to go to this one, boom, and it'll flip over here into the reading. And then over here I'll say I'll pick this one, and it'll fly over here to the reading. So this is a 10 card reading. So the heart of the matter here in the middle, this is the Celtic Cross spread. Probably this is the most famous classic tarot spread of all. And but the center, the heart of the issues, the main crux of the matter, basically, in the center, the one position. And then this card, I don't put it, this is the crossing card. It's supposed to be laid across the top of this card, crossing it. But when you're writing an app, you tend to do things so that people can see things easily. So I just slid it down here, and it's in the crossing, crossing. And then in the third position is root cause, or an inner factor. That's kind of like a very unconscious part of your deep unconscious. And then in fourth position is the past, something fading away. And then in the fifth is conscious intention, self-advice, as opposed to the unconscious inner factor down here. And this conscious intention or self-advice is a modifier for the final outcome. It influences it. We get to that at the end. Then 6 is near future. Okay, so heart of the matter, past on the left, near future. So basically, when you do a 3-card reading, you're kind of taking these 3 cards out of the center of the Celtic Cross reading and just using them. And then you come down after the 6 to 7, and often these 4 corner cards, they're actually lined up as 4 cards along this right margin here. I just thought it looked better this way. 7 is your sort of self-image, kind of how you see yourself in this situation. And then here is how you sort of think other people see you from outside, outer social influence, how you feel the outer world and other people are affecting you. And 9, hopes and fears, very simple. What are you most hopeful for and fearful of? And then the likely outcome here with a modification by looking back at what your conscious intention or self-advice is in this position. So as I keep scanning along here and clicking cards, they'll flip over into these positions, one by one. So now past fading influence, it goes there. And now we're going to conscious self-advice. We'll go there. Now we're going to near future. We'll go there. And now we'll go to personal self-image. We'll say that. Oh, that she came up in a reading last night. And here we'll do this for the outer social influence. And then hopes and fears will take this card. Now, the likely outcome, this last card, will trigger the reading. And the reading will show here. And there's an AI I built into this thing. There's a little machine learning thing that scans the text that the app puts together to compile the full reading. And I give two readings. There's a list format and there's a paragraph format. But it scans the text and it decides how, on a scale, if it's a cautionary reading or if it's an optimistic reading. And it tells you. So when you click that last card for the likely outcome, let's go right in the middle here, right here. Boom, the reading happened. Oh, okay, it's decided it's mildly disadvantageous. So, and this is, we're just doing a general 10-card Celtic Cross reading. So and now, as you're here, you can get very in-depth on each card by just simply clicking it, and then you can go back to show the reading. So here, in the major concern, heart of the matter here, we have the Two of Pentacles, or Two of Coins. It's reversed, and it says it can imply continued disagreement and inability to form a necessary union for increased benefit and prosperity. So that's a problem to think about for this week. This reading is being applied to the current moment in time. So that's something to think about. Now, the crossing influence, current obstacle that sort of lies in front of us and is sort of smothering us a little bit. It's not necessarily negative all the time. It's just something that's heavily influencing the major concern, and that is the Nine of Wands, which is the creative fire suit. Means a narrowing of focus in creative efforts as one prepares for profound change, requiring perseverance. A new path is to be chosen. A spiritual crisis is at hand. A cycle is ending. Something's about to change. We're trying to finish something. We're trying to get through something, and we need to put all our efforts in basically what's sort of known as the final push. That's something that we're having to deal with in the current moment that's influencing this problem we're having of disagreement and inability to form a union and benefit everyone around us or ourselves. Now let's move to 3, which is root cause, unconscious factor. That's something we're not quite aware of up until now. The Knight of Pentacles, of Coins, symbolizes the active spirit of one who seeks further material and physical success, taking new roads and seeking greater creativity. We want to get out there and find our way and make a success of what we've been doing, okay? So we just have a tendency to that we're probably lost sight of, but it's a root inner factor here that we need to remind ourselves of. And now we move to 4 of past fading influence, the 5 of Swords, representing a new point of view or idea that leads beyond the current limits. The mind may be engaging in more spiritual thoughts and seeking higher enlightenment. Okay, so that's a fading influence. We've been working and trying to deal with new ideas, and maybe they've upset us a little bit. But anyway, we've kind of gotten through that. We've passed it, so we can kind of let that go a little bit. We don't have to worry so much in the moment about these new ideas. They've had their effect on us, and maybe they've had something to do with our problem in the center position of not being able to do our thing quite the way we want to. I'm trying to make sure I'm not. There we go. No, I'm fine. So let's move up to the fifth position, which is the conscious intention or self-advice. What we consciously tell ourselves we want to do. And the Four of Swords, and 4 is that stable number. Swords are the mind. Represents a solid and dependable, rational basis for ideas. The mind is strong and balanced. And that's what we have to keep reminding ourselves of. Hey, I can think my way out of this. I have ideas that can deal with this. Okay, so I'll be able to overcome these obstacles. We've this 9 of Wands down here, this requiring all this effort, this 2 of Pentacles, and there's so much disagreement and not being able to come together with a person or people that I want to get things done. I'm not able to bring disparate influences together properly. So, but I know I can get through this because I'm smart, I'm capable, I have the knowledge to deal with this. And this is taking and to deal with conflict. That's the swords are very representative of that. So then let's go on to 6, the near future. 7 of Wands shows up reversed. Can mean a retreat into defensiveness and refusal to listen to the inner voice. Creative vision, desire, and goals become limited. And this is coming up. This is something that's coming to us, or me. Creative vision, desire, and goals becoming limited because I'm dealing with an inability to get anywhere, and I'm trying to think my way out of the box, and my creative vision, it's really hurting my ability to express myself creatively. So now let's go down 7, personal self-image. Queen of Pentacles is a deep comfort with the material world and sensuality, radiating nurturing energy and a feeling of complete contentment. This is kind of how I view myself. This is kind of how I view what I want to be, who I want to be, how I want to be. Complete contentment. I want that. And that's what this card is saying. Let's go to 8 now. The outer social influence. Temperance reversed. It implies an obsession with one thing or the other. Examine the possibility that you are limiting your thinking and avoiding the work of self-improvement. Temperance reversed, it means you're just not able to kind of deal with things and keep yourself, looking at a broader picture and sort of calm down the conflicts. Get hyper-focused or annoyed by one thing, and it's very distracting, and that is an outer social influence. So it's kind of, we may worry that other people are seeing us as being a bit obsessive and withdrawn and kind of holding up and being self-involved. That's basically what we are now concerned that other people are seeing in us. And we actually want to be this lady here, completely content, nurturing, kind of the opposite of upside down over here. So then let's go up to our hopes and fears. And 9, hopes and fears. The Wheel of Fortune shows up, representing movement, change of life. Consider the various options open to you at a juncture or crossroad. Blind luck plays a role, but fortune does favor those who make wise decisions. It's time to decide. It's time to grab the handle of the wheel and turn it. After making wise decisions, it's saying, hey, you know what? Things are going to change. You have to do it. You have to use this 5th position, 4 of Swords, that makes you so clever and smart and dependable in the way you think and communicate and deal with problems. You have to use that to get things moving here. And this is very, very significant because it's a major card. Now, the final outcome, likely outcome, is the Lovers reversed. The Lovers indicate the union of duality, but reversed, alert you to disharmony, strife, or a one-sided attitude in relationships. So, again, this reading is really fascinating. Every reading, especially the Celtic Cross Tarot spread, is a little short story. And here we started out with this inability to couple properly, to come together. And where we end up is basically a restating of that. An inability to come together. One-sided attitude in relationship. And it's very significant because it's a major card. So it's a problem we're dealing with a lot, that we tend to deal with. Now, that modifier that I mentioned before, this line, that's basically saying, okay, so we have this issue. We have a reading that the system has decided is mildly disadvantageous, which actually strikes me as quite an astute rendering of the undertone of the reading, which does have a rather negative aspect with this inability in both the first and final positions to come together and get out of ourselves and work with others. But the modifier is again saying, you have a very dependable mind. You are very, very skilled at dealing with conflict and communication. And you feel safe there, making those kinds of negotiations and communicating. And you know you can do those things. And that knowledge, that ability will modify this outcome and help to turn this card right side up. That's why this modifier exists in the Celtic Cross reading. It's one of the most interesting aspects, actually, of the idea of this particular spread. Now, in paragraph form, you see, if you click Show Narrative, it lays it out in a different way, and I'll just read it. Two of Pentacles in first position represents your major concern, the heart of the matter, or the current situation. The card reverse suggests a tendency to remain in abstract thought rather than pursuing opportunities for physical well-being and increased wealth. The next card, Nine of Wands in second position, represent what concerns or obstructs you in the current situation. It suggests a refining of creative or sensual energy in preparation for significant change. Next, the Knight of Pentacles in third position represents your unconscious mind, root causes, and motivations which may have gone unexamined. It suggests a strong and confident movement toward new paths to material gain and heightened creative efforts with expanding consciousness. This is inside. We know we don't. We're not very aware of this until now. But it drives us unconsciously. Next, Five of Swords in fourth position here shows what is receding in importance relating to this matter. It suggests new ideas and avenues for thought open up and lead to higher accomplishments and greater understanding. Okay? But we're moving away from that. We're actually less capable of doing that. Okay? Next, Four of Swords in fifth position shows what you consciously think might be good self-advice in the present situation. It suggests a rational mind supported by the solid foundation of truth. Just as we said, this card here. Solid foundation of truth, rational mind, modifying the outcome. Okay? Next, Seven of Wands in sixth position here shows the near future of the present situation. The card reverse suggests a defensive and hostile position that can lead to apathy, self-doubt, or significant loss. Next, the Queen of Pentacles in seventh position here shows your personal self-image in the situation. It suggests a fully satisfied and nurturing comfort with one's position in the world and with the sensual life. One is at home and filled with contentment in the physical world. Next, temperance in 8th position shows how your surrounding social environment influences you in the situation, or an alternate view of the situation. It's like an outer perspective on you. The card reversed suggests a heavy-handed approach to solving problems without taking heed of other points of view or different aspects of one's personality. Next, the Wheel of Fortune in 9th position represents your hopes and fears regarding the situation. It suggests the forces of change and cycles of life that resemble karma. A turning point may have been reached that requires you to consider the future and the role of chance in making your decision. Finally, the Lover in 10th position represents the final outcome and what you will come to understand. The card reversed suggests that you may be experiencing problems with proper balance and emotional give and take with relationships. Think about whether you become too one-sided and forget another's viewpoint. This reading is talking about getting out of the closed down, the being closed into one's own ego, losing the ability to be jostled from one's secure positions, and this sort of self-obsession and fixation on one's own problems can lead to creative stagnation. It can lead to a dull sort of existence. You want to be content. You want to be nurturing and confident, but you can't be lately. You have an inner drive to go out and do things and make fantastic statements and achievements, but you're not really doing it. You really hope that something will happen, some luck will happen to help you sort of turn that wheel of fortune. You have to take a chance somewhere, and you know that it's going to happen. But, you're just kind of isolated and a little cut off from people, and you're just not allowing them in. And that's the problem in this reading. And you kind of are going to, at this point, have to be able to really communicate with, just make yourself sit down and think through the problem and find a way to open up and communicate with people. And that is what that 10-card reading is talking about. They are big readings, these 10-card readings. They can be really scary. They can, a lot of, I don't see a lot of tarot readers doing them because when you're on a stream, it's harder to do a long 10-card reading, I think. Even just fitting them all in the video screen can be a little difficult. But this app, I also made it so, we did all this reading here to get the reading, but you can also, as I showed, zero in on cards to get real detail. That's why I say this is really a tarot book. So here you go, it gives you basic words associated, and then it gives you basic words associated when it's reversed at the bottom down here. But like pentacles, symbolize wealth, physical needs, body, health, nourishment, material needs, production, work, sensuality, senses. Suit of Pentacles element is earth, receptive, stability, dryness, strength, permanence. Numerology, the number 2 for the suit of Pentacles represents the accumulation of energy and resources in preparation for an agreement or action. That 2 there. You need the 2 to come to agreements, to come together with people and to basically put your strengths together and complement each other. Then if you, let's say you go to the Wheel of Fortune, you can look at that and see its turning point, change, cycles, taking next step, progress, chance, karma. If it's reversed, it can represent hesitation, fear, repetition, backsliding, indecision. And then it's just, yeah, you can, lovers here, lovers card. There you go. Reversed meanings at conflict, separation, dispute, one-sidedness, indecision. There you have our reversed lovers that we're dealing with the best we can in our little short story here. Oh. I keep making it so I know what it is. The chat fades away on the stream thing after a certain amount of time, and I should not have it do that. I should say instead, let me change that. Say chat thing. Oh, it does say always show them. I don't know why it goes away. But it does seem to fade out, which is sort of weird. Not sure what that is, because if I send another, if I say, it goes in, yeah. And the other thing I'm looking at is so, yeah, this app, I'll read about the lover's card. The lover stands at a threshold in life, ready to commit one way or another. He or she is on the verge of unifying a duality, which leads to strength and the possibility of creative or worldly success. The card represents both the pleasures and confusions of emotional life. It presents a complex image of love and relationship. There is a third figure in the image who could represent someone left behind, someone entering the picture or someone presiding over a ceremony. Let the subtleties intrigue you for a while before you make any assumptions about the meaning of the card. This card also has a bearing upon your feelings about what you are doing in the world. Are you following your true path? The lover reversed can indicate emotional imbalance, a one-sided relationship problem, or a serious inability to make an emotional choice. So, yeah. Now, what's interesting about this is here I wrote about this card in this particular old deck. However, in my version of the lover card, my card is different and is going to require some different text. So, but what I will be doing is, along with that deck, there's going to be a small booklet, little one of those little guides, because you really can't put a tarot deck out there without some sort of a guide, even as crude and rudimentary as it might be. I actually kind of like rudimentary, little teeny tarot guides that somehow manage to cram all 78 cards and just have one little line. Or you can make the guide simply just have these words you just have, the lover, harmony, union, decision, duality, friendship, blah, 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 on one line, and then say reversed and have these words and just leave it at that in your guide. And then for number cards, just the words. You don't really have to do more than that, because anyone using that rudimentary guide is just doing their first few readings with a friend or their brother or sister or something, and they're just going to be thrilled. Just look, oh, it means conflict and higher understanding and spiritualism. Ha ha! That's what the Five of Swords means. So, and that's great. That's actually really fun. So, and you really don't want to put something along with a tarot deck initially that is too involved. You scare people off it, Although that being said, I kind of want my deck to also have a book, a book that is based on the deck and has all the pictures in it, and basically will be largely the content that's here in my app, because the app represents my view on the whole thing. Let's look at Temperance. I actually don't mind the Temperance card in this deck too much. It's not so bad. It's a little silly with this. This is a very confusing thing. I have a drastically different Temperance card. But what do they say about, or what did I say about this? I think of this app now as like them, but it's candlelightstories.com. That's me. That's my little company. Temperance works with opposing forces to calmly synthesize and mix until something extraordinary is produced. Seeking balance, Temperance's abilities are seen when conscious thought is combined with deep inner awareness and intuition, creating a full and rounded outlook on life. This is the alchemy of personality development. Temperance is an artist, peacemaker, psychologist, diplomat, and a gentle but certain guide through difficulties, always with a delicate touch when confronting a complex situation with multiple forces in opposition. Consider all the various ingredients available and begin to work wonders with them, never losing sight of the need for contemplation and care for all. Temperance reversed could mean sticking too firmly to one position and ignoring other points of view. Beware of forgetting your quiet inner voice while making decisions. Allow the different parts of your personality to mix and percolate. I actually really like that. Sometimes I wonder, because long periods of time go by that I don't look at this app, and I forget what I put into it and all the hard work and the time I spent working these paragraphs but I actually like that description. That makes the card interesting to me. It's really funny how the mind works with creating things, and you kind of sometimes forget, like you even did it. But so, and that happens, I think, because you move to the next thing, and you kind of have to like put the last thing down in order to get the energy to do the next one. But in this case, now I'm sort of feeling like, okay, I've been doing this tarot thing for a long time now, and I've put a lot of study and experience into it. I know that sounds it sounds pretentious, but it's true. I mean, you have to study something like the tarot. If you want to do it, if you want to build a system that you are comfortable with and makes sense to you. If you don't, and you just want to let the cards have a very immediate momentary impression upon you, that you blurt out whatever you feel in that moment, that's a whole different thing. And it can be absolutely perfect for certain people or at certain times. But if you want to build a system that tarot has a game quality to it. It started as a game, and it evolved gradually into what it is, and it has never lost that game quality. And I hate regular card games. Like, well, no, I don't hate poker. I actually kind of like poker. I'm just no good at it. But most card games really bore me. But poker, like Texas Hold'em, it's actually a really cool game. But the what was I even saying? It's all going out. I'm getting all confused. It's a game underneath. Its structure is a game. And I feel like, for me, I have to give that game its platform in the tarot. And it has to always show through from the bottom. You have to be able to see through the images to what is fundamentally a game. And so, for me, when you start thinking about the fact that there's a game underlying this, and which came first? Did it really start as a game, or was it like, well, we have these ideas way back hundreds of years ago. We have these ideas. We want to put them in a form of communication that's subtle, and we'll hide them in a game. I think that's a little suspect, that thinking. I think that archaeology of the tarot, they're going and trying to find secret monks were hiding special ideas, or alchemists were hiding their ideas inside a game. Yeah, I don't know, man. I think people came along and added their little bits and pieces in. Sure, but when people really are trying to hide things, they kind of stick them in clay pots and bury them in the desert, don't they? They don't really put them in card games. It's like, I don't know. I don't think many human beings would like go, oh yeah, I'll hide these ideas in a card game. So, anyway, but that's just funny about tarot. You read all these things about that. And I don't quite believe that. I think people kind of were amused by, you got fire, water, air, and earth, and I think people kind of were like, well, that's those things, you can throw them around and make a game out of them, and I don't know, with numbers, sure. And I think I think that the tarot evolved sort of along with esoteric ideas and religious ideas because it was kind of like just people throwing things in, and just the way, all you have to do is start making a tarot deck. And then you know how the tarot mind has worked all this time, because what you do is you start looking, you start drawing, and then you're like, oh, I could throw this little thing in to my picture here because it kind of suggests, a whole thing about the world, and you just do it. And that's because you're one artist working on your version and you're throwing in your little bit. Well, all through these hundreds of years of tarot, there have probably been these one little artist and go, oh, you know what? I'm going to do this because I'm going to make her, Temperate should be throwing water between two pots because that indicates mixing and dilution and balance in a kind of a kooky way. So that's I think what happens. It's a creative contribution from one person and then the next person on and on, rather than sort of a concerted effort to hide ideas that could have gotten you hung by the church. I just don't even know if that's really something that we can necessarily, think is accurate history. I keep hearing like boom, 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 like somebody hammering or something. Oh, I think I know why the chat went away, because I switched screens. It doesn't make any sense. I'm still trying to figure myself out. Well, doesn't look like a lot of people want readings today. Nobody's really coming in. It's already almost 9. Let me check something. Everybody's probably, I'm a newbie here in doing this, and people go where they're used to going. It's like you can't. I'm looking over at the other screen. Yeah. So in the tarot group, there's hardly anyone tonight. The little scorpion, she looks like she has 19 viewers. Someone has Secret Society server has 5. Wow. It's really, 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 really a quiet night. Interesting. Tarot, on Twitch, it's really not. It's a tiny. I mean, you never see that there are almost never more than 100 people total watching tarot streams on here. It's very, very few. And that's why I think maybe all of us who are interested in tarot would find more actually going on YouTube. I have to keep looking at that and see if that's true. I really am not sure. kinds of odd things keep happening. Like my candle just went out. Weird. But yeah, so I do my little candles right over here. And if I do a private reading, great. If I do a private reading, I don't do anything digital, you know. I do it right here. I'll do it with a card, with the cards. But what I've been setting up is an efficient method for doing readings for people via stream like this, and making it something they can schedule on Calendly, the calendaring app, Calendly, and then it would let me know, and then they can pay easily. I can shoot out a invoice from PayPal that lets them pay basically any way they want. And as soon as the payment comes in, then I can say from Calendly, I guess, I think it is. It's just send them out the link. Say, okay, right before your scheduled time, say, 7 p.m. on Friday, just go to this link and I'll be there, and you shall have your 30 or 60-minute reading. That's what and that kind of setting up I'm already set up as a business anyway, and I'm just basically trying to formulate the best way to do things via the video, because I think that doing it via video is actually very good. It's a very good thing to do. It's the perfect use of streaming video, really. So that's something I've been working the kinks out of. God, I should have a better card than that. Jesus, nobody's gonna want that. Hold on a second. Good Lord. Slightly better. He came up in a reading last night. I don't want him. I'm bored with the page. Oh, this is probably the ultimate card. The Fool. Lemat. The Fool's great because the Fool has a dog. But so yeah, and really this deck really has a good Fool. The more I look at it, he's a good Fool. Yeah. My deck, of course, is, it's not so different. Not so different. It's different in one very, very, very key way, though. And sometimes I wonder if I made the right decision with mine. But my feeling is once you get through 78 cards, there's no going back. Sorry. There's no going back. I made my decision. I did it. That's it. I don't give a damn if it's a mistake or not. So what? That's just the way it is. Nothing I can do. Let me just keep. Excuse me. Oh, what's another thing I can. All right. A little history. Oh, wait. Author's introduction. This is me. I'll read it. I am perhaps very much like you, confused by the profusion of tarot lore and the myriad explanations of its meanings, whether they be religious, numerological, or even psychological. The origins of the tarot are somewhat vague, lending it a mystery that is possibly of benefit to its uses as an oracle. Like you, I want to nail this thing down and arrive at its true reason for existing and its true meaning. I want to know the secret. One book says one thing about the tarot's origin, and another book says something entirely different. Who knows the truth? No one knows the truth. The tarot has evolved in mysterious fashion over many hundreds of years. Its various meanings have been reinterpreted countless times, just as its imagery has been redrawn over the centuries to suit the current styles and tastes. At its heart, tarot is simply a sequence of images that attempt to illuminate common human tendencies and deeply embedded archetypal images that span history and are recognizable in many cultures. The tarot combines imagery, words, and numbers to create a narrative device with unlimited possibility and interpretation. The tarot's very ambiguity is the root of its power and its longevity. I came to the tarot very simply. I liked the cards when I saw them in a bookstore, so I bought a pack and read the little explanatory booklet that came along with it. My first deck was, like most people's, the Rider-Waite deck of the early 20th century. The drawings struck me as interesting, but somewhat clumsy. I shuffled them around a bit and read some card meanings, feeling that this would be quite the test of memory. I began to play with a few spreads and did some reading for myself. Gradually, I began to see the narrative flow between randomly arranged cards. I was even struck by some of the concurrences with things in my own life. Nearly every arrangement I pulled out of the cards said something applicable to me. Of course they did. We all find our own meaning in images, and we instinctively seek pattern in chaos. We make stories from anything we find, no matter how insignificant or randomly arranged. Being a visual artist myself, I could appreciate the tarot as another tool for inspiring myself to create. I could almost see a film in the cards as I arranged them in sequences and did 3-card readings. What a marvelous toy. Marvelous toy. This is what I mean by never losing sight of the game. It's a toy. The tarot is a toy. As for the clumsy images on most of the famous tarot decks, I can only say that what I've noticed over the years is that there is something to be said for clumsy images. Tarot decks with the skillfully drawn, precise renderings of an accomplished draftsman are seldom very involving. It is brutally difficult to make a deck of tarot cards. It may in fact be one of the most difficult things to do in all of art. Symbolism and archetype do not seem to appreciate finesse. There's a power to crudity that is beyond explanation. Perhaps archetypes are related to the distortions of the dreamscape and thus resist accurate portrayal. actually dead on the money. I still agree with that. I still agree with what I wrote several years ago. So, okay. At some point, I read A Beginner's Guide to the Cards and found it much too oriented toward telling fortunes. Then I stumbled across a wonderful book called Meditation on the Tarot by an unnamed author. It was his intent to describe each of the 22 major arcana cards from the viewpoint of Christian Hermeticism, a belief system dating back to a possibly mythical ancient Greek scribe, Hermes Trismegistus, who is actually an amalgamation of the Egyptian god of writing and knowledge, Thoth, and the Greek god Hermes. He apparently wrote that there exists one true God and religion, which lies at the foundation of all religions, and around the world and behind all of reality, in fact. Essentially, Hermeticism seeks to know the universal truth behind everything. Modern esoteric traditions are mostly based on this Hermetic system of thought. The book I read included a great deal of Christianity, which at first made me suspicious and slightly defensive in attitude. I did, however, find the analysis of symbols in the cards to be fascinating. And after all, it is not unusual for a Christian to talk about a single God behind all of creation. Here, then, was an author who took the tarot seriously and sought to find the deepest meanings in the mysterious pictures. The attempt to relate tarot to Christianity is a perfectly sound endeavor and does, in fact, help explain a lot. This was a book that suddenly made it okay to swim around in mystery and try to find connected meanings, to build a story for each card, to connect the cards to life and faith. I don't usually talk that way, but anyway. Okay. I moved on to read Aleister Crowley. Oh, God. Aleister Crowley's book, The Book of Thoth. Don't read that. Don't read it. It's just one goddamn gigantic drivel of boar snot. Okay? In which he lays out the meanings for his 1940s Thoth tarot deck. His research and deep knowledge of Hermeticism led him to rearrange the order of the deck and create an entire philosophical teaching around his tarot story. A fascinating lifetime's work. Crowley directly connects the tarot to the Kabbalah system of words and their corresponding numbers. The primary illustration of this system is known as the Tree of Life. Yeah, okay. It is truly a magnificent diagram that seeks to contain all of existence. More on the tree later. I then read Alejandro Jodorowsky's book, The Way of the Tarot, in which he purports to have found a more authentic version of the deck printing known as the Tarot of Marseille, which is the same deck used here. Jodorowsky's approach rang a bell in me, perhaps because he is a film artist and I tend to gravitate toward his style of thinking. However, I found some of his efforts at finding hidden details in the cards to be somewhat forced. These archaeological findings of his seemed pulled out of a hat. Nothing wrong with that, really. After all, tarot meanings can include personal invention, as long as one understands where the meanings are coming from. I was interested in forming a less specific and more open interpretation of the cards. My suspicion is that these cards evolved over many periods and had many hands influencing their appearance and arrangement. See? What did I tell you just 10 minutes ago? See? This guy agrees with... Oh, wait, this is me. Anyway. So anyway. The vagueness of the tarot is its strength. Specificity is the death of symbolism. No great symbol should attach itself narrowly to an object or meaning. There must be multiple possibilities and contradictions in order for a symbol to live and breathe. This is very similar to symbolism in art, which, if too specific, begins to seem programmatic and dull. Fuzziness is the business of art, whether it be in its technique or its meaning. Never hit the nail on its head. Always bend it. You know why I wrote that? About the nail? That's because somewhere around the time I had been reading Henry David Thoreau. And he built this little cabin in the woods. And apparently he sucked at building. And he screwed it all up and left nails in the dirt all over the place. Bent nails. He didn't even know how to hammer nails straight. And that I think is where I got this notion here about, yeah, don't hit the fucking nail on the head. Always bend it. If the tarot is so ambiguous, doesn't that mean most fortune tellers out there are simply taking our money? It does indeed. There's a healthy amount of bullshit surrounding the tarot. That shouldn't bother us, though. The same is true of art. The tarot is art. It is not a device for prediction. It is a device for inspiration. At its best, the tarot opens a person to realms of possibility, new thinking, new approaches to religion, and the storytelling impulse. At its worst, it tells you whether or not you will be hit by a car tomorrow. Statistics are much better suited to the job of making predictions than the tarot is. The tarot resides at a crossroad linking spirituality to image to story. It is the story of life. It creates a disturbance. It exposes unconsciousness to consciousness. It is philosopher, priest, pagan, Christian, Muslim, Buddhist, Hindu, Jew, Taoist, painter, novelist, musician, actor, and psychologist, all at once. It is an enjoyable and inspiring mystery in the sense that its meanings are densely packed and run deep. We have begun, dear unknown reader, an exploration. I couldn't have put it better myself. So, with tarot and tarot streaming, my point of view on it is that you're making what they call content. And so you make content. What I don't do on tarot streams is hobnob. I'm nice to people and I talk to them. But the point is to fill the time with content about tarot and do readings. The time should be packed with tarot material. And so even if there's no reading to do, if nobody's interested, nothing wrong with that, because I'm going to make content anyway. I'm not going to chatter on about the news necessarily, unless I find a connection and it relates somehow to the material at hand, what we're doing. It's sort of like, if you went to a course in college taught by a professor, and they stood up there talking about what kind of sandwiches everybody was eating today, and back and forthing with and constantly interrupting them. Oh, Jesus, this gets me. So, but you wouldn't want that course. You wouldn't learn anything. There would be no reason to take that course in the school, because the professor was constantly being distracted by a student out of 100 every 10 seconds, which is what people streaming are doing all the time. And I get on the Twitch and I look at it, put a stream on, and what you see is a lot of this. And I'm getting down on other tarot readers, but you know what? I'm sorry. That's my job. Okay. But they're like this. They're like, oh, I'm shuffling. Okay, I'm gonna do a reading. Oh, hey, Anna. Hey, how you doing? Yeah. I know. And so went to the grocery store, and I'm just eating yogurt. Yeah, over here. And okay. John, I'm gonna get your reading now. Okay. Oh, hey, Boop Tube, how you doing? Welcome in. Yeah. How's it going? Yeah. Okay, let me. I'm gonna get this. Oh, Big Jangles. Oh, yeah. What? Your mother died? Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Let me get back to the reading now. Oh, wait, and they're just that's it. That's it. And then a reading comes out like, oh, there. And the reading is like, boop, 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 boom. Over, thanks. Oh, now let's get back to talking to these people. So anyway, that's what happens on these streams. And I look at these things. I'm like, what the hell, man? Why are you doing that? Why are you stopping every 10 seconds to look at your chat and like go back and forth with people for no reason that you're not even talking about the reading? Go back and forth with the person you're doing the reading for. Ignore everybody else. Talk to the person you're doing the reading for, and only that person, and finish the goddamn reading, and then move to the next person, or have a little break and talk to them, talk to the people, say something nice, go grab a cup of coffee, come back, and then talk to that one goddamn person, only the person that you're doing the reading for. Everybody else, nobody else matters at that point. Doesn't matter who pops in. Doesn't matter what they say. Doesn't matter if they tell you there's, an asteroid coming to hit you right in the center of your town. Ignore it until you're done with the reading. No tarot reader needs to interrupt their reading for anything. Okay? They don't need to. And if they do, then what the hell are they doing it for? I'm sorry. What the hell are they doing it for? Sitting in there, what are they? Someone sitting in a dorm room, like chatting with their friends, and I'm just doing tarot reading. It's all, hey, chill. This word chill, man. Fuck chill. If you're chill, you're dead, man. Chill is for the fucking morgue. So, whatever. That's all I have to say about streamers. Don't bore me, man. Don't give me your fucking shit with your chit chat. I'm sorry. It just, come on. Turn your goddamn computer off and call your friends on your cell, or to text all night. Don't be doing tarot as an excuse to socialize. I hate to be negative about what other people are making, but these people go out of their way. They go out of their way to do a shitty job. I'm sorry, they do. Whatever. This is true of all things, not just tarot. It happens in a lot of places. But tarot has a it has a tendency to attract sloppy kind of nonsense generators. What is shield mode? Here I am. I'm going to turn the goddamn thing off. Slow mode? Oh, no wonder. No, see, okay, I had shield mode on chat, and it was like making it so only followers, I think, could chat. Anyway, my bad. But I turned that off, so it should be working now. Maybe I'm still, these things that they do, Streamlabs with their streaming software, and the interaction with chat, it's very unfriendly. And it takes too many efforts to try to figure out how it all fits together and what you're actually doing. There's so many odd hidden settings. It's like you don't even see the setting, so you have no idea what you've missed. Like that, they said, we recommend you put shield mode on. I was like, you do? Okay, so I clicked it, and apparently it makes it so that only followers can chat. It's just stupid. Why would you recommend somebody do that? Anyway. Anyway. Haha. There's that there's a 8, the 8, I have my own approach to doing the 8. I actually, with the Tarot de Marseille, this deck, I find its treatment of the number cards to be somewhat weak. Its arrangements don't really interest me. Like, here's the 10 of Cups. I find its arrangements to be a bit dull, and they try to spruce it up with these leaves sort of moving in between. I really have never really liked it that much. I don't know. But that 8, it 8, I always had trouble with that card, like what the meaning was of the 8, really. My candle keeps going out. Let me pour some wax from one into the other. This reminds me of temperance. But anyway, let me light it again. To open, I can move the camera and then get there. Anyway, the idea of the 8 being a symbol for trying to maintain a perfection and balance. The great work and skill that goes into being able to achieve a perfect balance in things. It's an interesting card, and it took me a while. Let me look up what I wrote about the 8s. I just simply said perfection and balance in this app that I did. Of course, if a specific 8 comes up, it'll be more interesting. But then, so there you have the 8s being perfection and balance. And if you then, hi Nikki, And if you then go to the 8th major card, it's justice. And justice has the scales of justice: fairness, decision, impartiality, discussion, negotiation, honesty, integrity. The 8, again, sort of fitting its persona there. But when you come to drawing a number card of like the 8 of Cups, I found a solution for myself that I put into effect that I think works for me. And I like actually better than the way they do it in the Tarot de Marseille here in this quite old deck. So hey, Nikki, the thing, I've been sort of discussing tarot and looking at a 10-card reading that I did here in the Celtic Cross. I don't know if you're still there, but at any rate, this is what I've been sort of up to for the past hour or so. The Fool, Seeker, Adventurer, New Beginning, Optimism, Freedom, Hopeful Journey, Thirst for Knowledge. Yep. The Four of Swords, this thing here in the reading, going back to it briefly. The Four of Swords represents the solidly dependable, rational thought process that leads to results. The mind is sharp and balanced, resting comfortably on a foundation of truth. The 4 on the tree of life is called mercy and has the qualities of solidity and rest. Yeah. Oh, I see. I just noticed Hooded Boar gave a follow. I didn't see that before. Thank you, Hooded Boar, wherever you might be. I can't believe I had something called shield mode on, and probably nobody could ask for a reading. So they're like, why is this guy going on and on and on and ignore? I can't even ask him anything. Oh, man. But then again, yeah, I don't know. I'm still working out the kinks of streaming with this Streamlabs stuff. It does seem like they could work on it a bit and improve make it simpler. Let's see what our oh, he's not there anymore. Going into the Western world. Music seems to be working well today. I'm not sure it's my favorite music, but oh, I have something where I can make music. Hang on. Let me put that on. I'm going to actually play it. Here we go. This music is made with an app where I tell it to include certain instruments, and you can randomly generate. It generates completely original compositions that are yours to use, no copyright concern whatsoever, because you made it by telling it to randomly generate stuff, and then you can save those tunes. And I have used them before, but I just made this one a few days ago. Kind of like it. It's actually better than I also use a streaming music service specifically for copyright free, because it's paid. It's a paid service. You subscribe and you can use the music in the background of your streams and videos without getting copyright dings, because it's all licensed for use. But this app here, it's called Wotja. WOTJA. Wotja Pro. You have to pay to get the good version where you can save recordings and stuff. But you can make long things. You can make like half-hour long compositions. This one I think is like 20 minutes. So yeah, the service is, I think it's based in Sweden. It's called Epidemic Sound. It's very good. You just search for styles, moods, stuff like that, and long lists of things come up, and you can just play them, and they play in the background, whatever you're doing, and there's no concern that you have about royalties. They're all paid. The royalties are all paid because you have to pay to be a member of this thing, and they pay all the artists. So it's really good. But this is my own little piece. So it's, in a way, it's more interesting to make your own stuff using software, of course. It's, but it's one of those things where you manipulate until you hear what you want to hear. And then you're like, I like that, and you save that and record it. And it spits it out. You say, I want to save 20 minutes of this. So there you go. Wotcha. That's the name of it. It just kind of keeps going pretty much the same way. Funny how some games with streaming, you can see how things are doing. So, like Cyberpunk 2077 only has 267 viewers in its entire category. Dungeons and Dragons category has 16,000 and a half. Jedi Fallen Order, the Star Wars game from a few years ago, has 68. The Tarot category has 39. World of Warcraft has 24,700. listen for me at the moment. I'm not the kind of guy that plays music on a stream and just says, hey, let's chill out and listen to music. For some reason, this piece just made me do it. I think I should just keep making these. These are really cool. Like every day have a new one, you know? Angelic de Moon. Hi. Essentially, what I did just there is I made a little film. Angelic de Moon, if you're here for a reading, you just let me know. You don't even need to join a queue, but if you want a reading, just say so and let me know what you want it to be about, and we'll just jump over to the cards and we'll do that. Let me switch that image. Switch cameras over to the tarot. What you do is you type here. I'll put this in. See, it's not even. Oh, there we go. Just a general. Okay. Yeah. Let's do that. Hang on here. What I'm doing is I'm shuffling. Now, let me lower the volume on our little soundtrack. A general. Always good to do a general. The sounds you hear are this going on. Oh, thank you, Angelic. These are pieces that I switched over to a few minutes ago that I made with, this stuff where you select instruments and you can add in little things and then it creates the tune for you. And when you sort of hear what you want to hear, you can say, okay, good. And then you can commit it and you can say, I want to record like 10 minutes of this. And it'll spit out files for you that you can then use any way you want. You're out of what? What's that? I'm almost done shuffling. Okay, so this software for making this stuff, this music, it's a little tricky, the software. It's a little complicated, but once you get the knack of it, and you can run it on an iPhone. It's called Wotja. Wotja. Oh, Palo Santo is a cleansing wood to burn. Oh, I gotcha. Yeah. I know. I get what you're doing. But Wotja. So, and they have a free one, but it doesn't let you save your compositions as like MP3s. So they make you pay just once. It's not a subscription. You just pay once, like $25 or something, to get the Pro, to say unlock Pro for me. And then Wotja becomes Wotja Pro. And you can then make your compositions, and then they can be saved as, I think they save as MP3 and other formats, whatever you want. But because they're original, nobody owns a copyright, so you can use that music in your own stuff, like videos and stuff. All right, now, Angelic Damoon. I am going to lay out 3 cards. We've got all upside down cards, Angelic. So let's see now. What are we dealing with? All right. We've got coins showing up on the left. We've got wands, the fire, the passion, the inspiration, the drive, the creative spirit. Some people refer to it as the masculine energy, which is sort of a kind of a sexist, stupid way to approach it, because it's like, I'm sorry, but masculine and feminine can both have masculine and feminine in equal measures in them. So it's like, but that's what that wands is. And then we've got this knight over here of pentacles. We've got a reading 2 pentacles or coins sandwiching the passion of the wands. All of these figures are reversed upside down, which is meaningful. It's telling us something. So it's a general reading. So what we're talking about here is, first thing it's saying is, okay, let's consider what's sort of been and what we're kind of getting past. Now we're leaving. We can sort of say, look, this is a built-in factor here that we know is part of us and our current situation, and we can accept it and kind of leave it for a while and just let its influence happen. We don't have to fuss over it very much. That ace, big, strong, powerful symbol of the coins, of the earth and material needs that you have, the things that you want and need just to get along, just to earn your living, to do your job, to stay healthy, the things you can touch, people you can touch. You know, the earth. It's very receptive also, typically, the earth. So it's your ability to receive input, to receive other people, to kind of bring them into your home, to be comfortable with them. Now, there's an issue here. There's an energy holdup with this ace. So what it's saying is that materially, and in the sort of physical realm and the things you need, there are wants. There are concerns about whether or not abundance and stability can be achieved and when. So this issue has to, at some point, work itself out. It's not a pressing concern at the moment, because it's kind of leaving, it's moving off to the left a bit. Let me get a little bit more light thrown upon the situation here. Let me see. There we go. So we don't have to fret too much about this. We can kind of say, this will continue to influence us to some degree, but it's not going to be too powerful. It's kind of had its day. So we're getting past this problem of not being able to depend upon our energy with the things we need for sustenance. Okay? It could be something as simple as a better job is going to come along and resolve these problems for us, things like that. Or a person that we're more willing to have around and can contribute to the things we need, to the household in a way. That kind of thing may be coming for us. Now we get here to a kind of another ace symbol in that creative fire, our drive to accomplish, to do, to work, maybe a little lacking and unfocused lately, possibly because of this concern for maintaining ourselves in stability. And that kind of concern and worry about the things we need, whether or not we're going to be able to make enough money, that sort of thing, can kind of squash and reduce our willingness, our drive to get up and do what we really love to do, or be with who we want to be with, that kind of thing. It can have an effect of reduction there. Now, what we need to move toward, what's sort of headed our way, is the knight, again, of coins, pentacles. And the knight is very active and says, look, I'm going to go out and take care of business and get what I need. But there's hesitation here because he's upside down again in this reading. So there's this hesitation to really go and say, this is what I need to do, and I'm going to just do it. There's a doubt. And so the reading is all about some worry about the things we need. You know, these concerns and fears that hover around money and jobs and the physical world. Where are we going to get our rent money or our mortgage money from? Or how are we going to get our next dinner? That kind of thing. It's very, very fundamental. These worries have an effect on reducing our energy to create, to build, to do what we love, to pursue things. And this is seen as a lack of energy to take initiative and action. So it's all kind of looking at a time of doubt and some nervousness. Now the tarot always gives you things to think about. So you never look at these reversed cards purely as reversed. You have to consider them in their upright. And the best thing to do is go for the center card and say, well, okay, upright. The center card represents seizing and making use of these energies and these drives and your desire to be who you want to be, to seize that and remember what it is and to keep hold of it. That's why this ace is so formidable with the hand holding this thing. It's trying to say this is a primary factor in everything you do, and it's what you have to fall back on and rely on, this deeply buried energy that maybe has been a little bit quiet recently. And what you're saying, Angelic, is suggestions on how to reverse this way of thinking ingrained into you. You're slowly trying to break that hold over your beliefs and confidence. Exactly. Absolutely. And so now, recognizing this energy in you and remembering it's there. It's sort of like when you know you're good at something and you work on it 1 year, okay, and you make something really interesting and the whole process fascinates you, and then something comes up that knocks you off your balance. Some horrible thing maybe happened, or some breakup, let's say, and it throws you in a whirlwind of it just completely unsettles you and makes you doubt who you are and what you're doing, and you forget that project that you were really so loving to do, and it drops away, and you know it's almost like you don't even remember it for like a year. And then, you're like, why am I so agitated and fidgety and like, I don't know. And then you you look at, you were like, oh my gosh, was I doing that last year? I can't believe it. Really? And then it dawns on you that, well, I was doing it then. Why can't I do it? I'll just have a look at it. I'll flip through the pages, or I'll look at the photographs I was taking. Oh, there's my camera. It's all dusty. I left it in a box. Oh, you know what? I'll just take it out and I'll just get the dust off. And then slowly, and you're like, oh, and if you're lucky, you remember how you felt a year ago, and you start in again, and it comes back to life. And this center ace of wands comes back to the front and takes over again and gives you what you need. And then you're able, consequently, to turn this over again and take the actions physically. It could be as simple as going out and buying clay at the art store to make the pottery that you decided you want to keep making. But you go out and you take the action and you do the concrete steps that you need to do to get back into what it was or what it is that you know you're good at and really truly enjoy. So that's what's happening with this reading. No reading in the tarot. When you get all those reversals, you have to flip them and look at what the tarot is implying about how to turn these things over and get things back. Put the locomotive back at the front of the train on the rail and get it steamed up and moving again. That's what the tarot is for, right? It's the tarot can't possibly exist just to say, forget it. Everything's upside down. Just forget it, man. Just go and take a nap and the tarot isn't doing that. The tarot is there to wake you up. The tarot is there to say, hey, no, what can you do about this? What's the thing to remember? Remember your talent. Right here, the ace represents your talent and your passion, your love for whatever it is you have that feeling for that you may or may not have forgotten. It's saying that's the thing that you got to remember it and keep really tight hold of it, and don't let anybody throw you off of that. Don't let anybody make a remark that makes you somehow doubt that you should be doing that. That's what this thing is saying. So, and there you have it. I think somebody, so angelic, that's basically a general sort of, this relates to nothing specific that you have asked. It's just, what could be sort of a thing to keep in mind. And in fact, a general reading like this, it could be something where it doesn't even apply to you until 3 months later, you realize, oh, wait, you know what? This is a moment where that guy, that kook that was reading my tarot thing on the video thing a few months ago, he said something. Oh yeah, he was talking about that wand card and said, keep your eye on that. Remember that. Well, they could come in very handy at that point. Just for a little flash of thinking that you do. And it could make you like run to the bookstore and buy that book about, playing the piano that you saw, and there you go. So that's what it is. So I hope that is either useful now in the moment or becomes a little useful, as I just said, slightly down the road. And llama pajamas. I didn't even know llamas bought pajamas. I guess they do. Hi, llama pajamas. I am well tonight. And I'm picking you, since you went in the queue, I have just picked you as next up. The llama does. The llama buys pajamas. That could be like a Dr. Seuss book. The llama who bought pajamas. Okay, let's see. Hoping to get insight into a new relationship energy you have going on with someone. Just looking to see what you might need to know about where this is going and both his and my energy in the relationship. And hang on, Llama Pajamas. Just finished with Angelic. Angelic, thank you. The reading was very clear. Message is exactly what spirit. Yep. Slowly trying to get back to the authentic you. Yeah. Build on your creative skills that you couldn't develop for years due to the environment I was in and the energy I was surrounded. That's awesome. See, this is what you're saying there is what the tarot is talking about. Slowly trying to get back to, getting back to it. Right. Yep. All-Seeing Mars just came in. I remember All-Seeing Mars. Now, Angelic, so good. Thank you for asking for a reading. I hope that it really does do what. I hope it gives you that little extra sort of bit of inspiration, basically. All right, Llama. This relationship now. Get insight into a new relationship energy. So this is new. Okay. And I'm not getting a negative sense in any way from your general sort of your very short bit of very few words I'm seeing. It's very positive, okay, but naturally, I guess the point is that early on, it's a total. We all do that. We all are like, okay, so what is this really? It's like, I don't quite know yet. I really like being with this person. It's like fun, and but it's like, I don't know what it's going to be. Let's see. Let's just lay 3 cards out. I think I've done plenty of shuffling over this last 5 minutes. I'm good, All-Seeing Mars. I hope you are very well also. All right, Llama, I'm starting now. And I'm keeping very carefully. I am now fully yours in concentration. Oh, that one seems to... Okay. Let's turn them over. Wow. Okay. Wow. Well, Llama, if you know tarot, I'm sure you're going kind of like, oh my gosh. But let's see. All right. We just pulled 3 major arcana cards. 1, 2, 3. Chariot, Judgment, Lover. It could not be more appropriate. On the left here, this is something that you can sort of say, well, yeah, that's there. I'm not going to really worry too much about that. That's kind of built into me. The Chariot is, it's power. It's being able to take action and solve things. It's also being in control, but it's also, the control implies an ability to work with very powerful forces, symbolized clearly by the 2 horses and the calm demeanor of the rider, the sort of careless, I don't really need to worry about all of the strength in front of me, even if they want to pull in two different directions, I'm so confident in what I can achieve that I know I can guide them literally with one hand on my hip, and I don't even have to be holding the reins. I mean, this is a picture of almost overconfidence. But when this card is right side up, it doesn't imply overconfidence. It doesn't imply an egotism. It implies real, solid ability, mastery, an active approach to things. It could mean that you have this sort of capability built into you. It can also mean that there is a quality of this other person in their relationship with you that makes you feel very royal and powerful and like up on your chariot, so to speak, and you're in the power position, and you just sort of somehow they elevate you and they make you feel like you could take over the world. That's what you do in a chariot, especially when you have a crown on your head. What you do in that is you ride into the castle walls through the gate, and all the soldiers part for you as you ride through, and all of the people are cheering and throwing their hats up in the air, and the musicians are on the walls are playing, and all the soldiers with their bow and arrows and spears are all like going bam, 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 you know, and it's all very much like an old movie like by Cecil B. DeMille or something, where the Roman army comes home or marches out to conquer. And this relationship can have this quality of building that sense of that confident sense in you, excitement, and you think you literally could like conquer the world. You know, that feeling sometimes happens when you're in love with someone. That wow, it just makes, it's like a shot of some kind of like energy drink or something. Now, there's the center. So there's this happening, and you know it's happening, and it can sort of be relied upon to stay that way. And then here in the middle is judgment, which is upside down. And so that implies, it's almost like that is representative of your question, because judgment is sort of like, hey, am I hearing that right? Am I hearing my inner voice? Am I following my inner voice that can sometimes be interpreted as coming from out there, from above, you know, the voice of the guiding something or other? Am I hearing it right? Am I paying attention to what it's suggesting for me? Where is it kind of pushing me or pulling me? Maybe lately I've been ignoring that. That's why it's upside down. I haven't been able to hear it. It's possible that because this relationship is so exciting and makes me feel so much like this commander in the chariot, that all that energy, and it's made me, it's kind of silenced my inner voice, my intuition. And I am like, wait, hold it. I gotta take a breath here, and I gotta listen to that. So where is this relationship? What does this mean? What is it going? That's what this card is saying. This is the time to start asking those questions, which you're doing, so that you can start hearing the little voice. And then what the tarot is suggesting is, if you do that, if you listen there and follow the hints that your own self is giving you, it leads to the Lover card, which is, when it's right side up, it's this sense of, there's a moment, as pleasurable as it may be, where you have to decide upon a direction. It requires communication. It requires dealing with things that may be there from before. That's why there are 3 people in this image. But it requires communication and the spirit of sort of working and resolving things that may have existed back here before this, that may be influencing your ability not to be able to figure out where it's going fully yet, which is this center judgment card. Why can't I hear my inner voice? Why am I wondering where this is going to go? What direction should this really head in? I'm very excited, but what direction really should it head in? Is my excitement blinding me in some way to something important that I'm missing? Those things have to be, you have to listen and probe like you're doing to find out. And then this kind of open expression of your feelings combined with conversation and a sharing of ideas to resolve situations from the past or from the recent past or that surround this relationship. To resolve those circumstances is what this Lover's card is really all about. Communication, that excitement that makes you want to write love letters to someone or love texts to someone, and those communications now need to take on a more serious tone and start to sort of get at where these lovers, this relationship want to move. And that's what this tarot, and this is very powerful and important because it's a major card. So it means whenever the major cards show up, it means not only are they suggestions on how to think, but it also implies that these forces are present to a strong degree inside you already and can be called upon in this moment. I know it's a bonkers pull. It totally is. Yeah. It's a bonkers pull. I mean, but yes. So, yeah. Remember, listen to this question you're asking tonight is basically represented by this middle card. Remember it. Keep it in mind. And keep your line of communication very open. And of course, the Lover card doesn't just represent communication the way the Swords cards do, which are more intellectual. The Lover's card, when it's talking about communication, it's talking about very intimate communication, not intellectual communication. So I hope that gives you what I call food for thought. Llama pajama. That's good. I'm glad. If it fits, then it could be something that you will remember in a couple days, while you're talking to someone, and you'll remember, oh, the Lover's card, right. This is what I always do. It was like, sometimes readings aren't remembered, but a card, you remember, I got the Lover's card at the end of that reading. It was the last card on the right. I remember that. And just remembering that will be enough to spark something in your approach when you're talking to someone. Just that. So there you go. Now, All-Seeing Mars. All-Seeing Mars. You just went over into the, you're up. You're up. Mars is typing frantically, pounding the keyboard. It's a 15-page question, though. I'm going to have to do some research. I should put a horrible form with like 47 different text fields for people to fill out to ask a question. I put this light right under my face. It looks like a Halloween light. Jesus Christ. Okay. Here we are. I'd like to know how best get the most out of this powerful shift of energy and goodness that's coming to you soon. Powerful shift of energy and goodness. Okay, so all-seeing Mars, are we sort of in the realm of professional, like work? Or do you feel like it's more in the realm of interpersonal relationships? Shuffling. What is your sort of, what's the general context of that? Or do you just feel like it's purely your own emotional sort of energy about to change? Deck a full poker shuffle. The spiritual and self. Yes, you said that the other day, I think. Yep. I remember. There was, you made a mention. Spiritual and the self. Yep. But also it yep, it influences, it's connected. Yep. Okay. All right. We've got two numbers surrounding an archetype. The pendu, the hangman. He's upside down. Now, this the first thing that jumps out is a suggestion that a change of perspective, a viewpoint that you may have been seeking, or the ability to kind of hang on and wait a bit. You know, the hangman kind of gives up his or her ego, sort of stops for a moment and says, you know what, it's not so important to try to do anything at the moment. What's important is that I wait. I literally just wait and let myself be and drop all my guard and drop all my defenses and literally drop myself to the lowest point and let myself see how things feel or how they look from the point of kind of saying, okay, for a while, I just give up. I'm just going to let it all just kind of drop away. In actuality, the Hanged Man card is really the most meditative card of the entire tarot. It represents meditation really profoundly. And let's leave that there for the moment and jump over to the left, where we see the 7. Now, what you've just spoken about is a spiritual and sense of self, and they do connect to your work. But that spiritual is very, very strongly represented by a 7. It's a 7 of swords, and swords are all about how you're thinking and your ability to communicate and deal with things and conflicts and beliefs. And the 7 is always this number of trying to go higher, trying to achieve a higher understanding, and it's very much tied to the spiritual. The 7s are very, all your efforts to get higher are to get into more spiritual awareness. But also the 7 has an active quality where you're trying to take that feeling of spiritual perception or understanding and bring it out to others and bring it into the activity that you're doing. Put it to effect, make use of it, not just sit up in a tower looking out a window and feeling spiritual. You're actually having a sense of being up in a tower because you're getting a higher view on your life and what you're doing, but you're trying to then apply it to what it is you do. And that's what this 7 is representing. Now, the 7 being on the left is saying, we know this. This is happening right now. This is happening, and we're about to move forward from this because this is basically a done deal. And then we get to the Hangman upside down, which is basically kind of hinting, saying, look, don't rush it. And I think you mentioned how you're on the cusp. The Hangman upside down is a mild warning to not think that you have to move past the cusp quickly. You can stay there on the cusp because you may not be fully ready yet to move forward, and that there's nothing wrong with being on the cusp and saying, hang on, I may not be done yet. My seven here may not quite be done yet. Let's let the plant, the little sprout, let's let it root. Let's let it root for a few days before I do anything, because if we put that little plant out in the wind before it's rooted properly, it could just get blown right out of the pot and blown down the street and it's gone. See what I mean? So the Hangman upside down is saying, okay, don't worry. Now stay with yourself. Know your feelings before you put your foot through the door. Don't make any sudden moves. That's what it's warning you about. And then you move forward into the creative, the passion, the drive. In other words, you're getting this spiritual, higher sort of awareness. You want to put it into effect. And over here, you want to put it into making the stuff you make. I want to make it. I want because I have all kinds of new ideas. That five is the entrance of a new thing that comes in and destabilizes things. And I don't mean destabilize in a bad way, but it can have an unsettling effect and make changes start percolating and bouncing around, and you don't quite know which way things are going to go. So if you're on the cusp of something, it's going to be interesting, because this 5 says, look, there's going to be a whole new way of approaching what it is you love to do, and this is going to fire you. And once you pass that cusp, after you're done dealing with the hangman and sort of pausing for a bit, you're just going to, things are going to go, whoa, this is percolating like a boiling pot here. That's the 5, the boiling pot. And everybody's like, oh my God, it's going to boil over if you're not careful. And it could, but, it's kind of the energy you want. When you make a big development, you want that. You don't want to sit in the same place all the time, right? You want things to be sort of jostled and flipped around a little bit every now and then. That's what's going on here. That's what's happening. The hard part of this reading, these two on the left and right, are pretty straightforward. This higher spiritual thinking and awareness of it, and your ability to sort of believe in things and believe in yourself, and you find like more belief in your spiritual capacity. And then on the right, the action and the energy of newness in your creative spirit. But this hangman upside down, it's like a little like, well, okay, hang on though. It means, and it's a major. It's a major card, which means very much part of you and who you always will be. And it wants you to remember that you don't have to act quickly in these kinds of situations. In fact, you want exactly the opposite. You want to move very gradually and let things naturally express themselves. Don't push. If you feel like you're going to be sort of hanging upside down by one foot with your head near the floor, then that's going to be really good for you, and it's going to give you a whole new sense of self, which will influence how you control these energies and excitements that are coming shortly. It just doesn't want you to move too quickly there. Let it come gradually, and don't worry about, there's no urgency. Kitty real slow like stalking. Yeah, kind of. Yeah, but also be like the kitty who will stop and just sort of roll over onto their back and lie there with their paws sort of in the air for like 10 minutes, staring up at nothing. Don't be afraid to do that. Just kind of, because then in a second later, that kitty will go whack and pop up on all 4 paws and go boop, 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 running off and jump over the sofa. So there you go. Angelic de Moon, I am actually in California, and it is now, it's 10:30 p.m. Yeah. Oh, cats do that. I know cats very well. I grew up with cats. Cats are nuts, so they're just absolutely crazy. But I hope that is of some use, because being on the cusp of these things, it's a great feeling, But yeah, sometimes there is a tendency to want to like go, like, I'm on the cusp of something. I'm gonna let's get it done real quick. You're very welcome, Mars. Now I'm gonna close the queue, but okay, so we have Giovanni Soto. Giovanni, you are up. You're in South Africa. 7:43 a.m. Wow. Thank you. Thank you, Angelic. Giovanni, I'm shuffling. Yeah, 7:43. Man, you're way ahead. So Giovanni, you just ask a question. You can just excuse me, say you can be very general. I'm going to do another poker shuffle. Giovanni, are you still with us, Giovanni? Are you still, or did you run off? Yeah, I think Giovanni might have his paws in the air. You're right. Okay, I'll switch over then. We'll go to apples, lemons. Apples, lemons, it's you. Love reading, sort of a general kind of a love reading. Nothing specific going on. You just want to kind of know what the cards are kind of hinting at. All right. You know how often this happens? Apples, lemons, that you pull 3 pages, 3 valet pages in one reading? It never happens. Now, the pages are young. They are wanting to learn. They're like a little confused, but they have real enthusiasm. They don't quite know which way to turn ever because they're developing. They're students of every aspect of life. They haven't figured it out yet. They haven't mastered anything yet. They're doubtful, but they're also sometimes overconfident. They don't quite know which way their feet are taking them. They don't know when to be full of action. They don't know when to be quiet. They blurt out the wrong thing, but it's all in the same sense of really wanting to learn. Now, the first one is swords, and that's thinking and belief and conflict and those things. And he's upside down. So that means that there is kind of instead of being confident and enthusiastic and learning, and the confusion takes over, and there's an inability to absorb and process. And the enthusiasm for experience has been dulled. There's something has sort of sapped the enthusiasm, and it has to do not so much with feelings, but there's kind of it's got an intellectual quality, and there's maybe been some conflict that hasn't been resolved, and it's kind of might have you a little hesitant. It almost seems like, well, I don't know. Instead of running out and trying to experience a new thing, I'll just hole up for a while. That's sort of what's here. But this is on its way out. This is leaving. This confused sense of helpless kind of, I don't know. It's not worth it. That's kind of what that says. However, what the reading wants us to think about as primary in the moment is the page of pentacles or coins. And that gets into very earthy physical sense of existence. And it can be work, it can be what you want to actually have near you, what you need, what you need on a daily basis to get along and to feel comfortable and safe. There's a lot of safety in the coins, security, financial security. But the sense, if it's a love reading, we're getting a little away from the financial, and we're talking about that security of feeling grounded and whole and at home in something. You're seeking a solidity. You want to come down and to the ground and kind of make a home somewhere. That's what that, and the page, as we know, doesn't know how to do this yet. But he's looking at that thing, and he's inquisitive, and he wants to get there. His feet are totally in opposite directions, which means he doesn't know whether to go right or left. He's not sure because he hasn't mastered anything yet. But there's no doubt that he or she will. And that's the point of this central card, that this drive to find something that makes you feel safe and warm in the earthy symbol of the coins is paramount here. But don't be impatient with your inability to figure it out quickly, because the page won't figure anything out quickly. But he has all of the energy and enthusiasm to figure it out, ultimately. And then that moves on to the next page that comes up. It says, well, you know what? There's also all of this incredible energy you have to apply in a relationship. All of this passion that are represented by the wands, which are the symbol of fire. And they are what you need to to have, especially at the beginning of a relationship, to propel you forward so that the relationship goes through that long period of excitement, all of that stuff that kind of launches the rocket, sort of, that is sort of at the beginning of a long relationship. But again, it's the page who doesn't have it figured out and can stumble all over the place in applying that energy, can make all sorts of mistakes, will get jealous one day, really mad the next, and be super happy and on top of the world a day after that. It's just because the page is still trying to get that balance and understanding of themselves and how relationships work. So these cards are saying nothing to worry about. You're getting past some sort of a little bit of maybe depression or down on your ability to like deal with things, and knowing that you want something really solid and having a whole lot of energy and passion to apply in a relationship, and being willing to make a ton of mistakes, but they should be absorbed by your basic overall sort of open quality. Yeah, pages are they're the cute ones. I mean, the pages are like the pages are very young, They were in medieval times. They were always a very young person who would kind of do the things that a knight required. They would be like an assistant to a knight. They would like bring the knight their shield and swords. They would help out with the knight's horse. They would lead the horse at the end of the day to the barn or the horse place or whatever it was, the stable. And they would also carry communications from the knight to the king, or, back and forth. They would be like the messenger. So that's another aspect here, is that pages are also representative of communication back and forth. But they make mistakes. And when you get the page card, you have to be like, you have to kind of smile about those mistakes. You have to shrug them off as expected and part of the process. So that helps in a love thing, in love circumstances. That helps a lot, especially if both people are aware that they're kind of like, they don't quite know how to get everything right and they're going to make mistakes, and that makes them very forgiving of each other. So I hope that gives you a little sense of when the moment comes and you're like, thinking about relationship things, and you keep in mind the very simple image of the page wanting two basic things: to have a secure, stable relationship in the earth symbol here of coins, and to be able to be excited and passionate and creative, so that a relationship builds and makes something really nice, that you can really be proud of. And all the mistakes along the way will lead to the page learning and developing more and more mastery of a relationship. And so that's actually, I kind of like that love reading. Actually, I'm like, Sometimes I forget to be the page. I want to master things and like fully understand them too quickly. And And so I lose the. I'm like, you have to stop as you get older. You know, sometimes you have to stop yourself and go. There's no such thing as a super expert on anything. You have to be kind of. You always have to remember your part page. Yeah, that's all seeing Mars. That's, yeah, being open minded. I see your point there. So apples and lemons, yeah. I hope that means something to you. Hi, Phantom Punk. I'm sort of winding down now. That's why I closed the queue. But what's tomorrow? Friday? Tomorrow's Friday. At least for me, it is. I think Mars, it's Friday for you already, right? But yeah, tomorrow. So tomorrow I can do another one. Actually. Yeah, tomorrow I can do another one, no problem. I'll try to have some more. I'm going to make some more of this music for tomorrow. Yeah, I think we should all be the Page of Wands. I'd kind of rather be the page than the knight. The knight can be like kind of, I don't know, crazy aggressive sort of. Hey, Jing96, hello. How are you? Oh, I closed the queue because I'm winding down, Jing. I have to get going. But I'm going to come back tomorrow, and I will be, let's say tomorrow I'm going to do it Pacific time. We're talking California Pacific time from like 7:30 in the evening until, like this time. But yeah, that was really great. And I really like seeing you again, Mars. Nice to have you here. And I love the, there's new people coming and stopping in, and it's really, really good to see. And the questions have been good, and so it's a total pleasure reading for people here. So that's why this is my third night in a row this week doing it. So tomorrow will be the fourth. So I'll try. What I may do is put a schedule up. Do it like that. But anyway, okay. So let me wind down. Let me close it down now. And thank you all so much for coming. I really feel like sometimes the people that are here and expressing themselves in chat, they very often make the readings better just by the things they say. very interesting how it affects my reading. You know, yeah, the Tarot de Marseille. It's like, yep, I know. It's kind of a hard deck, actually. It's a hard one to initially to learn. All right, so I'm gonna run now. I hate to, but I have to get going, and I will hopefully see all of you, every single one, tomorrow. All right, then. So later, everybody. I'm waving. I'll see you later. Yes, tomorrow for sure. Bye-bye. Good night. All right. Good night or good morning, everybody.